Hey YouTube, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife video for you. This is going to be my best and worst of 2017. Before we get into that, let me first of all wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. I'll probably say Happy New Year one or two more times before the time comes, but I do want to wish everyone watching a great holiday season and a very blessed new year. We're going to talk about a couple of things here. What I'm going to do is kind of do best, worst, best, worst, best, worst. So it should be a lot of fun. I'd love to hear your comments down below with your best and your worst. And let me give you two quick heads up here. You might want to stick around for the whole video because there's a possibility that there'll be a giveaway near the end, as well as a potential knife for sale, or at least one that I'm thinking of selling or trading. So I'll have those things coming up about midway to the end of the video. All right, let's go ahead now and get started with the knives that I feel like have been total wins and a little bit disappointing as we've gone through 2017. I've got these two knives here because this one was on my list of best knives from last year and I still absolutely love it. This one frankly should have been on my best knives from last year or maybe the year before, whatever year it came out. Great knife, and I'm glad I eventually got to hold one and try it because I have thoroughly enjoyed it and still do. All right, so let's go ahead. The first knife, one of the best knives of 2017, and these are in no particular order, so this isn't like number 1 or number 5 or anything, it just is. All right, the Benchmade Freak. The Benchmade Freak generated a lot of attention, a lot of discussion, and I think rightly so. I was a little dubious, to be honest. I didn't know exactly, what to think until I got it in hand and I felt the action and I felt how comfortable it was and the cutting performance on that blade. The thing is just a real win, and I'm really glad that Benchmade is able to still come up with some good stuff. For a while, they were feeling a little, I don't know, like they just couldn't pull it together, but Freak, and even the Boost to a lesser extent was very good. The Boost, I think, is definitely better than the Barrage. Anyway, Benchmade Freak, great knife. Now, that's a knife I was impressed by. What about one I was disappointed by? Well, if you're like me, you saw on Instagram a few days ago that Kershaw was coming out with an XL Skyline. And when I saw it, I was like, hey, that's awesome. Then I followed the link and realized it was a China-made Kershaw in ACR13 MOV. And I was extremely disappointed. By the way, since that time, I've had a couple people message me saying, man, I went ahead and picked up one of those XL Skylines and I was really disappointed. And I'm like, yeah, you should have seen the steel and just skipped it. I think there was so much potential there, and it was really sad to see that not be all that it could have been. All right, moving on. We'll kind of stick with the Kershaw theme for a minute here. Let's get the Benchmade out of the way. This is not the ZT I want to mention. However, it is in the same family of Les George Design ZTs. The Zero Tolerance 0920 is a total win. Amazing knife. And if you've seen my review of it, you know that I thought it was just phenomenal. Real Bush Owenke EDC sent it over. And if you don't follow him on Instagram, I would recommend you do. Anyway, great knife. The action is phenomenal. The blade shape, the steel, the price, the construction. I mean, everything about that knife is a total win. And I'm so fortunate to be able to have had that knife for review and played around with it and carried it a bit. An absolute joy. Now, on the contrast of that, the Zero Tolerance 0850 was a disappointment. More because of the design, okay? Functionally, in terms of blade shape and blade design, handle construction, even ergonomics, all of that stuff was great. And so from that standpoint, if you say, does it cut well? Does it perform well? Yes, it's a great performing knife. However, the design choices that they went with, especially in terms of the backspacer and the thumb studs, are just really bad. They make it feel cheesy and pathetic and just, anyway, really disappointed in that knife, especially because it could have been and should have been so darn good. Okay, so that one was a big disappointment for me. Next up, let's talk about Spyderco. And you know what, we're gonna make this video anyway. I just realized I didn't bring any of the Spydercos with me at all. Let's go ahead and do it anyway, and I'll just roll some pictures in here. So the Spyderco Shaman, absolutely a best knife of 2017. It's comfortable in hand, it's well constructed. It's a bit of a shift for Spyderco to something a little bigger and heavier built, sort of an EDC plus style of knife, and so totally impressed with the Spyderco Shaman. Really enjoy it. Great blade, great construction, everything about it is really well done. watch my review if you haven't done so. And so yeah, big win on the Shaman. However, there is a bit of a disappointment from Spyderco as well, and that has got to go to the Polestar. The Spyderco Polestar was so close to being awesome, and when I saw it, I was really hoping that this would be a budget Spyderco that I could love and be a huge proponent of, since I've kind of been unimpressed with the Tenacious lately. And although it's not a bad knife, okay, the fit and finish is not ideal. The price point is a little high. And so there are just a few things about the Polestar that are less than impressive. And that's really disappointing because I wanted it to be amazing. And although it's still a good knife, it's not as good as it could have been. And so bit disappointing on the Spyderco Polestar. Let's go into a couple of other knives. These are some knives I do have here. We have a Riot collaboration. This is the Steelcraft Bodega. The Steelcraft series has been around for a while. They're essentially, production versions of Todd bag designs. And the Steelcraft series has been, up to this point, produced by Riot. We've got another one that's produced by and we'll talk about that in a minute. But this guy is amazing. I have loved the Bodega for years. It's sort of one of those knives that when I first started getting into knives was really popular. And, I used to watch videos from Jim Skelton and Epic Snuggle Bunny and, Pio Liang, if I'm going to say his name right, and a bunch of other guys, and just drool over their Bodegas. Always wanted one and just wasn't in the cards until this. So the fact that they finally did a Bodega is super exciting to me, and I'm really glad they did. And I am absolutely blown away by this knife. From the blade shape to finish, the detailing on the handle, the level of quality, the action, the fit and finish, just an amazing knife. Easily makes this list. Now, while we're talking about that, there's a knife that I was hoping would be good, because back in the days when I first started getting into YouTube, Tough Thumbs was big on YouTube, and I used to watch a lot of his videos and really enjoyed it. And so the Arcform Slimfoot, which was also built by Riot Knives and in collaboration with Jeff, just really disappointing. I know they wanted to do something different and unique, and I guess they did, but sometimes you can put, you can go too far in that direction, and I feel like that's kind of what happened with the Arcform Slimfoot. There are tons of designs that Jeff has that are great that they could have used as a collaboration, and I wish they would have, but anyway, more than a little disappointed in that knife. Of course, I didn't end up picking one up because I just was like, yeah, that one is not for me. Let's go to another win. And in fact, this is kind of going to be a class. Okay, the main knife I want to talk about here is, yes, the Boost Blade Smoke. This is a phenomenal knife. And I've got to tell you guys, I was very biased. I'll tell you, I knew I wanted to get this knife mostly for review. I thought this will be a great knife for the channel. A lot of people are really excited about it, and so I really want to, be able to weigh in on that conversation. But then it came, and I, after carrying it and using it for a little while, right away I became addicted to it. I have carried this at least for a part of every single day since I've had it. It is so well done. And I've got to tell you guys, this knife is not the knife that I would normally like, okay? It's too small for me, but I don't know, just the way this has been done, the quality, the feel in hand, the interesting design, I absolutely love it. And so total win here for William Boost and for WE Knives. The quality on this is exceptional. And along those lines, I want to bring in the Glimpse. This isn't really on the list. It's a great knife. And WE has done a fantastic job. And so let's talk about that just for a second. The quality on these two is stupidly good, like just amazing, absolutely perfect high-end knives. And so WE is really killing it on their collaborations. There's one other that I wanted to mention, and I just can't think of the name of it. I want to say Berg Blades maybe has a WE collaboration. Anyway, it's something like that. And if you know what it is, fill me in the comments down below. Say maybe this is the knife you're thinking of. Anyway, while we've got this knife out, the glimpse, I am going to say this. I am thinking about considering selling this knife. And mostly it's because, well, I love this knife. I don't feel like I need two bag knives in the collection. And this one, because it's the Bodega, is the one that I'm going to keep. So if you're interested in this knife, send me an email, clearkevin@gmail.com. I will accept, or I will consider trade offers as well. So, and once you email me, then we can talk about price and all that kind of stuff. Okay, let's move this knife out of the way and talk about my disappointment. And that is the WE knife sort of collection for this year. I don't have anything for you to look at here. Let's just throw the smoke back in. They consistently do a good job in terms of their action and their fit and finish, but the designs that they've had this year were really disappointing. Very few of them connected with me in any way. And I've even had a number of people, comment on videos and on Instagram saying they're kind of over WE knives. And I think the reason we're disappointed is because you may recall there was a Blade Forum story that talked about WE knives kind of dialing it back, doing a less number of knives this year and trying to sort of be a little more selective and a little more purposeful about the knives they released. And then they totally didn't do that, okay? So that was a disappointment for me because WE can do such great work and they have really, really nailed it on a number of occasions. And right now where they're really nailing it is when someone else designs the knife. And maybe that should be, maybe that can be a positive direction for them to go in. The Echelon, is a WE knife designed by somebody else. There's a few others that are really, really good, but they're just not in-house designs. And WE seems to be struggling with that right now. So that's one of my disappointments for the year. Now let's go back to a best knife of the year, the Olamic Swish. Now, the reason this is on this list, guys, is because the Olamic Wayfarer, the 24/7, was a good knife, and it gained a lot of attention, and a lot of people really liked it. And it was good, okay, no question. Now, here's what normally happens. When somebody, a company comes out with something pretty good that really makes a splash, oftentimes they struggle to follow it up. They struggle to come up with something equally awesome that they can put out there. But I would say that Olamic has actually exceeded what they did with the 24/7. I think the design on this knife is more interesting and more compelling. I think the size, I think the ergonomics, the blade shape, all of those things are better on this knife than they were on the 24/7. And the 24/7 was a great knife. So for this to be better in practically every category, that's doing something, guys. That is really, really impressive. And so the Olamic Swish is an absolute win. Now, I know we've had some expensive knives in here, guys, so I'm gonna switch gears and focus a little bit on some more budget blades. I wanna contrast the next best and worst. I don't have a worst to go along with this. I should maybe say the Busker. I hate the Busker design, but I know some people really, really like it. Anyway, let's get to CRKT and Kershaw. I don't have, oh wait, yes I do. Hold on, guys, give me 1 second here. Here's a budget Kershaw. This one is one we waited for a long time, and now that it's out, it's kind of a disappointment, especially this one. It has horrible blade play, and it's gonna have to go back to Kershaw. I just haven't gotten around to that yet. Anyway, a win that's actually a win for the last few years has been CRKT coming out with these stainless steel frame locks, okay? There's a number of these. This year, there's this one, so this is the Vizzle from Jasper Voxnes. There's also the Liang Ma Remedy. What else is there? There's the Amicus, there's the Buku, there's I can't think, there's another. Anyway, there are a number of really, really nice CRKTs that are done in a stainless steel frame lock, and they're really, really good. I mean, they're not doing anything crazy. They're still very budget knives, but they're well put together, they're reliable, and they're really good for, for some EDC folders. So here's what we're gonna do. Now, contrast this with Kershaw that I've been really disappointed in for the last like 2 or 3 years. And you know, that's sort of my best and worst. But what we're gonna do is give these 2 knives away. And what I wanted to make this is a giveaway. All right, so the way you're gonna enter is I'm gonna take this picture, I'm gonna put it on Instagram, and you comment down below with what you think is your best and worst of this year. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to enter on someone else's behalf. It's the time of year where we like to give away stuff, or we like to give gifts. So what I'd like you to do is, you know, think of a friend, a family member, a neighbor, whoever you think could benefit from a good knife. Usually, maybe this, you know, I think these are both knives that are kind of good for the uninitiated. So I'd really like you to be, you know, in the spirit of generosity, enter this giveaway for somebody else. So, you know, put your name in, but then if you're the winner, right, I'll contact you and you go to me, okay, Kevin, I want you to send this knife to my friend Bob, and here's his address, and I'll send it saying, hey, Bob, you know, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, from your friend Steve, who won this giveaway on your behalf. Okay, that's how I'd like to do this. Please make sure that Bob is legally able to own the knife. And once you win, let him know what's going on so he doesn't get this random package in the mail and wonder why some crazy person is sending him knives. All right, so that's how we're gonna do the giveaway. Look for this picture. I'll have both knives open in the picture. But yeah, look for this picture on Instagram and then comment with your best and worst knife of 2017, and you'll be entered. And I'm just going to use a random number generator to pick, and then I'll just count through the comments, and yours will be the one. Please only enter once and enter on somebody else's behalf. You'll have to go over and follow me on Instagram in order to find this picture. It'll be posted either just before or just after this video posts. All right, so there you go. Let's move on to the last thing that I want to talk about, and that is 2 bests. I thought we'd finish on a positive, and I've got 2 great knives that I'm going to call the best budget knives for this year. I don't have, let's see, what have I got around here that I can let's just throw a few things back onto the screen here. There we go. So the last 2 knives that I want to talk about are really, really good budget offerings that I highly, highly recommend. The first one is going to be the steel wheel cut jack. It is extremely well done. The size is great. The weight is great. And by the way, I'm talking about the D2 version, the FRN budget version. It is a total win, and the price is like $42 for a great knife. The other knife I want to put on the list right here is going to be the Reich P128SF. The P128SF, I would even recommend that one a little bit over the cut jack. It's a little more heavy duty, and therefore I would be, you know, I'm inclined to be drawn to it a little more. It's also a little larger, and you guys know I like larger. So those 2 knives are total budget wins as far as I'm concerned, and definitely 2 of the best budget knives of the year. All right, guys, there you go. Now you've got everything. We've got this knife for sale. We've got a couple knives to give away. We've gone through all of these best and worst of the year. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'd love to hear your comments down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll